History is often told through dates, victories, and the names of kings. But beneath those clean lines lies another story, one written in broken minds, sleepless nights, and people who were never the same again. This is the story of individuals who did not simply observe history, but stood too close to it. They saw something that could not be unseen, and slowly, quietly, their sanity began to unravel. In the year 1348, during the height of the Black Death in Europe, a Benedictine monk named Brother Matthias lived in a small monastery near Strasbourg. His duty was simple: record deaths, comfort the sick, and pray. At first, his writings were calm and methodical. Names, dates, short prayers. But as the weeks passed, his handwriting began to change. The lines slanted. The ink grew heavier, as if pressed by a trembling hand. Matthias watched entire families die within days. He saw children speaking clearly in the morning and silent by nightfall. The dead were stacked in churchyards because there was no room left to bury them properly. Bells rang so often that people began to ignore them. Eventually, the bells stopped entirely, not because death ended, but because no one remained to ring them. Matthias began writing about whispers. He claimed the dead were speaking at night. At first, he prayed louder. Then he stopped sleeping. His final entry does not record a death. It simply says, "They are awake and they are watching me." After that, the pages are blank. Church records state he was found alive, sitting in the chapel, unable to speak. He lived another 12 years, never writing again. Centuries later, in 1518, the city of Strasbourg experienced something even stranger: the dancing plague. A woman named Frau Trophia began dancing in the street and could not stop. Within days, dozens joined her, then hundreds. They danced until their feet bled, until some collapsed and died. A city clerk named Jacob Keller was tasked with documenting the event. Jacob believed reason could explain anything. He initially wrote that the cause must be sickness or heat. But as the days passed, he watched strong men dance until their hearts failed. Musicians were hired, believing music would exhaust the dancers faster. Instead, the dancing spread. Jacob began hearing rhythm where there was none. His notes describe the sound of feet even when the streets are empty. After the plague ended, Jacob returned home. But neighbors reported he continued tapping his foot day and night. He would wake screaming that the music had returned. His final records show no madness, just a sudden stop. He disappeared without explanation. His house was found unlocked, food untouched, shoes worn thin at the soles. In 1609, in the Basque region, one of the largest witch trials in European history took place. Thousands were accused, Torture was common. Confessions were meaningless. A young court scribe named Alonso de Salazar was ordered to record testimonies. At first, he believed in guilt. The accused spoke of flying, of demons, of night gatherings. But Alonso noticed something disturbing. Confessions changed depending on the questions asked. Children accused parents. Parents accused neighbors. Entire villages turned inward. He began to realize that fear itself was the true contagion. After the trials, Alonso publicly questioned their legitimacy, a dangerous act. He was not punished. Instead, he was ignored. His later letters reveal paranoia. He believed people were pretending, that society itself had learned how to perform sanity. He wrote, "Madness is rewarded when it agrees with the crowd." He lived long, but withdrew completely. Convinced truth had become invisible during the 30 Years' War. A mercenary surgeon named Lucas Reinhardt traveled with armies across Central Europe. He treated wounds by candlelight, amputated limbs without anesthesia, and watched fields rot into mass graves. And like soldiers, he never fought. He only repaired what war broke. Lucas kept journals. Early entries describe procedures. Later entries describe smells. Not metaphorical ones, specific, haunting details. The smell of wet iron, of burnt flesh mixed with bread, of villages where no sound existed, not even insects. After the war ended, Lucas returned home, but he could not enter buildings. Walls made him panic. He slept outdoors, even in winter. He claimed ceilings reminded him of tents filled with screaming men. He died alone. His journals end with a single sentence repeated over and over. I can still hear them asking me to hurry. In 1845, during the Franklin expedition, British sailors attempted to cross the Arctic. Their ships became trapped in ice. What followed was starvation, scurvy, and slow psychological collapse. One officer, Lieutenant Graham Gore, was known as calm and rational as supplies vanished. Discipline eroded. Men began accusing each other of theft. Gore's notes grow increasingly fragmented. He describes time stretching, days feeling like weeks. He reports seeing lights moving under the ice. Modern researchers believe these were hallucinations caused by malnutrition and cold. One entry reads, I believe the ice is alive. Impatient, Gore's body was later found miles from the ship, walking in the wrong direction. No sign of struggle, just exhaustion and silence. In 1915, during World War I, a French signalman named Etienne Morel was stationed near Verdun. His job was to listen, to detect enemy movement through sound. For months, he listened to artillery day and night. Explosions never stopped. Even silence became suspicious. After a direct shell impact buried his listening post, Etienne was rescued alive, physically unharmed, but he could no longer tolerate quiet. Absolute silence caused him to panic. He claimed silence meant something was about to explode. After the war, Etienne lived in Paris. He kept a radio on at all times, even when unplugged. He said it helped him breathe. Doctors called it shell shock. Etienne called it memory refusing to leave. In 1959, a group of experienced hikers died under mysterious circumstances in the Ural Mountains. The Dyatlov Pass incident, one rescuer, Yuri Doroshenko, was part of the recovery team. He saw bodies scattered, some undressed, some injured in impossible ways. Yuri never spoke publicly, but friends reported he became obsessed with geometry and angles. He believed the terrain itself had intent. He refused to return to mountains in later years. He avoided open spaces entirely. When asked why, he said, "Nothing should be that quiet. History does not always kill. Sometimes it simply leaves people alive long enough to understand what they have seen." These individuals were not weak. They were witnesses. And the human mind, no matter how strong, was never built to absorb endless horror without consequence. As you listen now, remember this: history is quiet on the page, but for those who lived it, it never truly ended. Let your thoughts slow. Let the past fade. And allow sleep to come gently, knowing that you are safe, far from the moments that broke others.